Meditate, manifest, invest in you. Join me on my spiritual journey as I elevate myself and like-minded listeners to a higher level mentally, physically, and spiritually. Thank you for listening. This is Blackhippielounge, and I am your host, Chanel. Welcome to Blackhippielounge. I am your host, Chanel. This is the first episode of this podcast. Just to kind of get into what we're going to talk about. This is the first episode titled, Who Am I? And this is a question that I feel that is important and something that I not necessarily have been questioning, but more so figuring out. I think throughout life, that's a question that the answer to that question of who am I can change through experiences and things that just shape you of who you are. I know that for me, as of recent, within this past year or so, I've had a lot of experiences, both good and bad, that have changed who I am, I would say for the better. So yeah, I feel like considering that I'm starting to do this whole podcast journey, I would start off with this question just to kind of get listeners to know who I am. My name is Chanel, and currently right now I am in grad school, about to finish. Next year is my last. Hoorah. I am very excited for that. I am 32. I live in Boston right now, but I don't know. I want to move. I've moved before. I've lived in Atlanta for a few years, and I really loved it there. Met a lot of cool people. Just did a lot of cool stuff there, and just being on my own and like being in a new environment and just learning new stuff is a really great experience. So now I'm like, where do I want to go next? You know, I'm not a fan of the weather here up in Boston, so I'm ready to go. Yeah. So, but yeah, to answer like who am I? It's like it's a lot, you know. I'm a lot of different things. I'm a friend. I'm a sister. I'm a daughter, granddaughter. I work with the youth, so I'm a mentor. I'm me. Yeah, it's like, I'm somebody who like right now going through like the reason why sorry to backtrack is like the reason why I started this podcast is like I'm going through a spiritual awakening right now. I have some friends who know, you know, what I've gone through and what I'm going through, and they're very much in tune with the spiritual world and like the universe and just manifestation and just really being in tune with that. And that's something that I've learned from them. And then just on my own as well, just doing research and just learning about how things work, especially in manifestation. I feel like I am really working on that this year in 2020, like just manifesting, not only manifesting things, but you have to manifest and then like kind of leave it alone. And what I mean by that is like just own it. Like, all right, like I want this job, I'm gonna manifest it, put it out into the universe, and then go just leave it. Like don't question it, don't, you know, put a timetable on it, you know, of when things are gonna happen. It's just kind of trusting that it will. And then still obviously putting in the work to get there, but just trusting the universe and yourself in the work that you've done, and that you deserve it. That's like a big thing, like just knowing that you deserve it. I think that's something that when the universe sees that you are like, yeah, like this is what I want, this is what I'm supposed to have, then it will give it to you in due time, obviously. But like, yeah, I feel like that's what that's what it is. Like, you have to just own it and believe that that you deserve it, and that it can be something that you can have, and then it will come. Yes. So the title of this podcast is Black Hippie Lounge. So how I came up with the name is like, it just kind of came to me. I feel like I just thought about myself, like, I'm Black. I don't know if I would say I'm a full-on hippie, but I have like my hippie ways. And it's like a lounge, like just chill vibe, you know. I'm all about vibes and just having like that chill vibe, like not trying to stress anything, and like just go with it, go with the flow. And I said go with the flow, but that's something that like I'm trying to learn to do, because it's not always that easy to do that. I'm a Virgo, so yeah, like we just like our structure, and like I wouldn't even say structure for me. I just more so like I need to know what's up. And like when you try to throw some random stuff in there, that's when you got me like going from a 0 to 100. Like that don't fly with me. Yes, just like be discreet, be upfront, you know, like don't try to think for me or try to figure something out for me. Like, no, I can figure it out for myself. Just let me know what's up. And so when you like trying to play little games, duck and dodge, that's when we have a problem. But other than that, I'm pretty chill. Yeah, I like to have fun, but I like to just chill. Like I don't like to do work. I just don't like to overwork myself. I like to enjoy my time, especially my time alone. Oh my gosh, like 2020, I have really just been doing me and like enjoying my time alone. It's in my own place and just doing my own thing. Like if I want to go to an event and friends don't want to go, then I'm going to go anyway. Like actually, I just went this past weekend to an art opening. There was an art museum opening. It was pretty dope. It was, it was good. It was just cool to see, because that's why some stuff like that is like what I like to do. Like look at art, go to art museums, or like go to live shows. So, and if people don't want to go, then I just go. Like that's something I started doing in Atlanta. Like I had friends there, but like again, if people are working or something like that, and I want to go, then I'm just gonna go. Like you don't need to have people with you to go to something. Yeah, I miss Atlanta because it was just like, oh, the vibe. Like you could go somewhere by yourself and like meet people, and people would just be mad chill and like just welcome you into their circle, and you just have fun. But yes, so what we will do, or what I plan to do with this podcast, is really to just, like I said, I feel like I'm using it. Yes, I'm using it to speak to listeners if I have listeners, but also just more so like as a personal journal, I would say. I guess like sometimes I just have a lot of things in my head about how I feel or what I'm thinking, and just like sometimes I don't feel like writing it out, and so I can just say it and record it, and then I could go back and listen, and just pinpoint some things that I might, can think about. So yes, I'm just gonna use it like multiple different uses, I guess, as a journal for myself, as a way to communicate with other people. And I would love to just create a system where listeners, as I gain more listeners, to send in like questions like about topics that you want to talk about, because I want to talk about different stuff, like life, like, love, relationships, friendships, work, health, mental health, physical health, emotional health, just anything like that comes to mind, really, that happens in day-to-day life, for a young woman like myself, or young men, or just anybody, because I feel like things can be related, amongst people. Everybody's on their own path and their own journey, and sometimes, they collide for different reasons. So yes, this first episode, like I said, is titled "Who Am I?" And it's just something that I am discovering each day. Who am I? Who I want to be? Who I thought I was supposed to be? Definitely 2019 taught me, like, I might have a plan for myself, but the universe definitely has a plan too. And you gotta learn how to just adjust to what's going on, because you can't control everything. You cannot control everything. And man, that's something that I really had to learn and still learn, because I'm just like, what do you mean? Like, what do you mean this is not working? This is what I had planned. So how can this not be? And all right, fine. Well, if it's not going to be, then what's next? Because I don't have time for this. That's how I am. Like, I'm like, all right, well, next, let's go. Like, all right, if this is not going to work, universe, then tell me what's the next thing. And when I'm not getting my answer, I'm going to get, like, antsy. And then I'm going to get rage, because I'm like, all right, you not giving me what I want. You took away what I wanted. And now what? What are we doing? What are we doing? And then to the point where I have to, like, center myself again and relax and just take it day by day, because I can only control so many things, So yes, I've been trying to practice manifestation more, meditation, and investing in myself in various ways, because that is just something that I feel at this time that the universe feels that I need to do. So when I say the universe, for me personally, I feel like that can be literally like the universe, spiritual realm, but also God. I feel like for me, I kind of put them together, because usually when I'm praying, or manifesting, again, can be similar things. When I'm praying / manifesting, it's to God and to the universe. I put it together. And that, again, that's just how I do. And what I've also done is, like, in my bedroom, I will write out things that I want for myself, that I'm manifesting, on sticky notes, and I have it on my wall. And I have quotes too. Almost like, did you guys ever watch that show, Being Mary Jane? And how she used to, like, have the sticky notes, like, on her, like, a bathroom mirror, and, like, well, she had them, like, I don't know if she had them all over her house, but I just remember having them on the bathroom mirror. And, like, I don't have it on my bathroom mirror, but I have them in my room, so I can see, kind of as reminders. And also, like, days when I'm just, like, not feeling it, and then I look at that, or, like, look at a quote that I wrote down, then I'm like, all right, it kind of centers me back, to keep going. And that is something too that I'm learning this year, like, or between last year and this year, is like, keep going, because it's like, what am I going to do? Stay in the same place? You can't stay stagnant, and you can go backwards, but it's not advised. So you can only just keep going forward, and just trust the process. That is, like, a quote / job that I have to do for myself, is trust the process. You don't know what's coming next. You could just plan as much as you can, or, try to do your work, as much as you can, but you have to just trust the process and trust that God and the universe has your back. Because I know I can attest that, like, even when I thought stuff was bad, I mean, bad, to the point where I'm like, yo, like, how am I going to even make it? How am I going to get to this next level? How are these things going to come together? And they just come together. And then, I just rejoice in it and cry and just be like, oh my gosh, thank you so much to the universe. God, like, I'm so grateful. And I think the importance is, like, also when that happens, like, remember what happened, remember where you were coming from, and stay grateful and pass it on to the next one. Don't just, you can give yourself your credit, but you didn't do it all by yourself. Some other divine source was a part of that to get you there or guide you. I have a really good friend. She always tells me, like, because, like, I'll text her and be like, oh, I don't understand, like, what's going on. Like, I'm doing everything I'm supposed to do. Why isn't the universe, like, rewarding me? And it's just, or like, or I'll think, like, oh my gosh, like, I ruined that relationship, or I ruined that, and, like, now I'm never going to get the things that I want. And it's like, no, that can never happen. Like, you have to remember and believe that you can't, there's a quote that I used to see, and I still see it on Instagram sometimes, and it's like, you can never, you can't mess up what's for you. I guess basically that's the message. Like, you can't miss what misses you was not meant for you anyway, and what's meant for you will never miss you. So I probably butchered that, but you get the drift. Like, what's for you will be for you. You can never change that. You can't change that. Even if you're not ready for it at that time, then it'll come around again or something like that. I don't know. But the main point is, like, what's for you will come to you. You can't mess it up. So that's why I had to tell myself, like, I can't mess it up. I can't mess it up. What's for me is on its way. And what left was not. It did its time, and it's time to go on. Yes. So, again, backtracking, kind of like why the title Black Hippie Lounge. So again, like I said, that would actually be a dope place to go if that was like a real spot, Black Hippie Lounge. Like, it could have, like, live music and, like, I don't smoke hookah, but I know people are, like, just getting into that here. So maybe, like, some hookah spot, like a hookah area section. And, weed is legal, so you could do a little spot with that, too. And maybe you could have some drinks, too. And just, like, live music or, like, poetry. I love stuff like that. Like, going to see people, like, open mics, that's kind of thing. Like, that's kind of cool. Like, I started going to those in Atlanta, and then I discovered that they have them here, too, in Boston. So, they're really cool, too. I like that. But having that kind of vibe, like a chill, mellow vibe for people. Because I feel like that's what people think, like, Black hippie, like, whether black, whatever kind of hippie, just a hippie. It's just, like, chill, like, just doing your thing, and, like, vibing out. Yes, so I feel like I consider myself, do I consider myself a hippie? I feel like I have hippie qualities. Yes, I feel like I have certain hippie qualities. And it depends. Like, I'm attracted to hippies to an extent. Like, the type of person I would consider to be the hippie that I would be like, oh, okay, I can get with that. I would say Luca from Grownish. Gosh. And I'll say Luca from Grownish. And oh my gosh, the guy from the photograph. Why is his name slipping my brain right now? Dang, his name is slipping my brain right now. But wow, that's wild. His name is skipping, like, I can't think of his name right now. Why can I not think of this man's name? That's crazy. But I hope you guys know who I'm talking about. Oh man, I'm so sorry. I can't think of his name. I cannot think of this man's name, and he is beautiful. Like, gosh, that beard and just the tattoos. Lakeith Stanfield. Yes, like that kind of man. Bellissimo. He is just a walking chocolate bar. But yes, like those vibes, you know, like that to me is like a black hippie, like, and they're not even full on hippies, but just like their vibe, you know. Yes, but also to kind of touch on like what I plan to talk about within the podcast, like each episode is going to be different things. But I would like to discuss various topics that I feel are important to me and to things that I've like discussions that I've had with friends about things, and also just even things that I've heard in other podcasts, because that's kind of how my idea of doing this came about, is because I was listening to podcasts, and I was listening to podcasts like while I was getting ready for work, when I'm just chilling, like on a Sunday after cleaning and everything like that, just like, and I'm just like getting real insight from these people, and I'm just like, wow, like this is dope that these people are doing it, and I'm like, hold up, they have all these apps and all this stuff like that. It's 2020, like you can do it too, you know, and so I was just like, all right, do it. So I like did my somewhat of a research and try to, you know, do what I need to do. So actually, the way I heard about, even not heard about, but even thought about getting into creating the app was through this. I was actually listening to another podcast who in turn they were doing an advertisement for Anchor, which is the way that I'm doing these podcasts now. And just to kind of give you a background on how it's done, you kind of just download this app, and you know, once you download it, kind of gives you instructions on what to do. You can research it yourself too. But there are plenty of different apps that you can use that allow you to create a podcast. And so I was just like, you know, I'm messing around with it, and I'm still learning. You know, this is only episode 1, so I'm still going to be trying to, I feel like as the episodes go on, I will understand, like, you know, understand, but also get a better idea of like what I'm trying to do. And this is all off the top of the dome, because I'm like, I hope I'm not all over the place too much. But I'll, you know, like I said, it's a work in progress, and just kind of go from there, you know, improvements. Make improvements. And also I plan on like trying to like network and like get some guests to come on too, whether it be friends or even like just whatever, like depending on what the topic is, if I can connect with somebody and go from there and try to create that too. So who knows, man, like 2020 is the year, like for me at least, I feel I'm claiming that like 2020 is about to be some really cool stuff going down for me. I'm going to try to do that, manifest that. Actually, no, I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to try. I'm going to do it. So yes. And also that's like something too, like this year I'm really trying to create like a different, man, like I'm just trying to be like, I'm like transitioning into a different person. You know how you could just feel that spiritual transition where it's like certain things don't excite you anymore. Like certain things just don't, not even necessarily are not you anymore. It's just a different you, you know? Like I recently like starting 2020, even though technically I started off bad because I said I'm not going to drink anymore. But obviously, like, once it came to midnight of 2020, I had some champagne. But after that, I haven't had any alcohol. And I'm going to try to stick with that. I'm going to try and stick with that until my birthday, which is not until August. So that's pretty much almost a whole year, you know? And I'm not about to go, like, crazy on my birthday. And I might not even drink, you know? Might not even do it by then. So yes, but like just doing stuff like that. And the reason why I'm doing that is not because like of anybody else. I just feel like I realized that was something that I felt like I was just doing it to be in the social scene. Not even, nah, I'm not gonna say that because I'm not even like that. But I feel like I was just doing it because it was like, all right, cool. Like I'm going out, like, all right, I might as well have a drink. You know what I mean? And I enjoy drinking, but I was just like, as I'm getting older, I'm like, man, that after effect the next morning, I'm like, I'm not really with that. I'm not really with the whole hangover thing or the headache. And it was to the point where I was all right, I'm not even drinking anything crazy. I'm having like wine or I would have a couple of shots or something like that. But like, and then I'm just like waking up the next morning with a headache. And I'm like, this ain't for me. You know, this is not for me. I don't want to do that. So, and I've been trying to drink a lot of water. I'm back in the gym. Yes. And then also like I said, I don't know if I said it, but I'm in grad school. I'm in grad school too. So it's just like, I'm just trying to make sure my mind is right for that so I can finish. Get that money, you know? Yes. So like I think that's part of my spiritual journey as well, is just kind of releasing the toxins in any form, whether it be people, place, or thing. Yes. And so, like I said, to touch back on the topics that I want to talk about, and then also I can obviously, like I said, I would love to explore and create a way for listeners to send me topics or questions that they might have that they want me to talk about, or to try to network with someone to have a guest come in and speak about. But I want to talk about women's health in our community, particularly the black and brown community. That I'm in school for healthcare administration, getting my master's, and I want to create just some kind of way to give back, especially to women's health, because I feel like as a black woman, it's hard to find a good, at least up here, to find a good black female doctor. Like I have a black female gynecologist, which is dope because that's something that I wish I had when I was younger. But I made it a mission. Like when I came back from Atlanta, I'm like, I have to find a black one, because I had one down there that was so great. But yeah, I found one. She's really great up here too. But just having a black primary care doctor, and honestly, something I also remembering too and realizing is just because they're black don't mean they're gonna look out for you like that. But for the most part, you can expect them to know certain things, that just other races wouldn't know, or they're not gonna highlight, because it's scary. You see all those stories about black women giving birth and just passing away, and it's just how, you know what I mean? We're in 2020, and how are we doing that? Because you're not paying attention to their needs. And that happens a lot in healthcare, is that black women or black patients in general are just discarded or just disregarded for what they're saying. They're not believing what when someone's in pain and things like that. So that's scary. But I want to talk about women's health. I want to talk about resources, and because again, that's something that I'm studying right now, healthcare administration, because I want to work in women's health. Particularly, I would love to open up a clinic of my own for young Black women that can teach them on sexual health and also provide services for women that are already pregnant, trying to get pregnant, or after the pregnancy as well. Just kind of going along with their journey throughout this. Also, I want to talk about fitness. I got somebody I know, a good friend who can be a guest for that to eventually when I get to that episode. Self-care, healing, love and relationships, dating and marriage, traveling, and just pretty much my life and desires. Like different topics that I feel are important to me and that I've had conversations with friends about that, you know, that are in my same age bracket, and we can just talk about stuff, you know, let's laugh and like cry if you have to, you know, and just get real. But really just to be able to like talk things out, you know, like what I'm doing right now, I'm talking it out by myself, but I'm talking it out, like just talking about random stuff. Yes. So, you know, when I say to elevate myself, I really mean like elevating myself mentally, number one. Always trying to read or just learn more. You can never know. You can never know too much. You can always learn something. And also be able to teach someone something too. That will help you elevate mentally too. Physically, I'm trying to, staying in shape, and getting better. Spiritually, I would say just being in tune with myself, my intuition. I want to know, like, not question my intuition. I feel like growing up, especially within relationships, whether it be friendships or romantic relationships, just feeling like something's not right here, or I don't know, I can't put my finger on it. But then you feel like, all right, well, I don't have any evidence for it, or I don't see anything with my eyes that's making me question this, so I'll just keep going on it. And then in the end, when the stuff happens, you're like, oh, I should have listened, that's why that was going off, kind of thing. So just definitely like learning to trust my intuition. Even if I don't have a reason, just forget it. I'm not about to sit here and play Carmen Sandiego and try to figure out what's the problem, I'm just going to nope, you know what? Your vibe is not working for me right now. I can't put my finger on it, but I'm not about to sit here and figure it out, And that also is something that I have to learn to figure out too. It's like carrying that balance of like not cutting people off just for some random stuff, but also knowing when to cut somebody off for some random stuff that's not really random. If that makes sense. Yes, just following my intuition and elevating spiritually, being so in tune with myself and the universe and God, where I'm like, I know what I know, and that's what I know, and I'm gonna go with it, especially like in dating too. Like I have become somebody who I'm just like, you know what, like I used to be nice. Like I used to be nice to the point where I'm like, oh, like in my head I'm like, oh, he's not that cute, but like he has a nice personality, And now I'm like, not saying that, again, because it doesn't have to be all about looks, I feel like, because I think that's a personal thing, like what works for you. I'm not saying you got to go somebody that's like not attractive to you. I'm just saying like you have to have the whole package. And also in society, I feel like sometimes we as women are told like, oh, well, at least he has this or like that, like kind of having that mindset. I'm not doing that. If you're not doing what you need to do or checking off, not even checking off my list, but just you like right now where I'm at, I'm not in a relationship, I'm not dating like that really. I'm just chilling, and like for you to make me want to go into that step, I would have to like, you're gonna have to really show me, but also make me feel like, oh, you know what, I can't let that go. I gotta at least give this a try, and I feel like I really haven't been with that yet. But also I feel like, I'm not gonna say I haven't been with that yet. I just feel like I'm still healing and like, I wouldn't say healing. I would just say I'm just like, I've been, like I said, 2019, I just went through so much stuff where I was like, I gotta relax and like, I gotta retreat. And like that summer, 2019, it was a great summer. Like I was out all the time, enjoying myself. It was great. But when it became to the end of it and like fall came, man, I started to like retreat. Like it was like, all right, I was like, summer was for me like not running away from my problems, possibly running away from my problems, or just like ignoring it. And then like the cold weather came and it's like, you can't really ignore it anymore. You gotta start feeling stuff. And I'm like, ooh, I don't really want to have feelings. You know what I mean? But like, therapy is helpful. Something that I learned definitely this year. Again, a good friend, same good friend, that's gonna be hopefully be able to talk about fitness. Like she tell me her journey with therapy, and it kind of just influenced me to the point where I was like, you know what can it do? What can be the harm? At least I can try. And I did it, and I'm glad I'm doing it, because it's like, man, it's helping me with my journey, because it's like opening stuff and giving me a perspective, an outside perspective of why things are the way they are, why I do things the way I do, why I view things the way I do, why I think stuff the way I do, why I interact with people the way I do. It's all comes together about where you come from and what things that you witness as a child and how those things can impact your relationships and the type of people that you choose to be with and the way that you choose to interact with people and how your anger and stuff like that. It's something I'm definitely working on, is my anger, because baby, if you irritate me or get me mad to a point, like I'm seeing red. Like it takes me a while to like calm down. I'm like red face, hot, my body's overheating, palms are sweaty, like I'm ready to go to war, okay? And yeah, I can't be like that all the time, unless it's like something like you mess with my family or something like that, then yeah. But yeah, I just feel like therapy is definitely helping, and it's a part of my spiritual journey too. So I definitely I'm not gonna say promote it, but I would say go for it if that's something that you've been debating on whether you want to try. It doesn't hurt to try, and if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. You don't have to do it. You don't have to do it. It's something it's an option. So yeah, spiritually, just becoming who I'm supposed to be. Spiritually, I feel like actually, and I think about it, like something just dawned on me, like my spiritual journey too is just like over the summer, like I said, I had a really great summer, and I got a tattoo on my hip. It's a lotus flower, and to me, lotus flower is literally like a beautiful flower that grows from the mud. So you grow out of like a muddy situation, you know, and you become this beautiful flower. And for me, that's what I felt like was going on in my life. Like 2019 was the mud. And I was the lotus flower that came out of that at the end, literally the very end. Yeah, like December. That's when I started, that's when I bloomed. And so, yeah, I feel like that was a part of my spiritual journey too, like, or at least the beginning of it. Because that was like the only tattoo where literally I'm not gonna say it didn't hurt. It hurt a little bit because it's literally on my hip bone. But it was like the only tattoo where I was like, it hurt, but it was like one of the fastest ones I've had. The healing process, I barely had to do anything for it. Like it itched maybe like 1 or 2 days, if even. It healed like that, like so quickly, and it came out so nice. It's not even like faded or anything. The shading came out great for it. Yeah, like I love it, but it's like, again, it's like, it's just, you, like, I don't know, it's just like divine. Like it's a part of my journey, you know. I felt free after I got that tattoo too. I did. I really felt free. Yes. So yeah, just, oh man, like I said, just going on, just trusting the process. I feel like that is the main thing. Just trust the process. Trust the process. Trust the process. Because, you know, at the end of the day, you can try and figure out what you think needs to happen, or what you think how things are supposed to be, but you can only control so much. You really can't control everything. So you just have to kind of learn to fall back and let things fall into place how they're supposed to be. So yes, I think this is enough for the first episode. And what I want to do is end each episode, either end or begin. I think I'll end with a quote that will hopefully resonate with what the topic of the episode is. So again, this episode is about who am I, and also just introducing the concept of like spiritual journey, you know, trusting the path, the process, and how things are up and down. And the quote that I would end with is, "Every storm runs out of rain." And for me, that means just like, again, kind of like trusting the process. Like, hey, you know what? Sometimes I might swear, you know, might say a little swear. But hey, like, the quote is, every storm runs out of rain. So sometimes shit is going to get real. Shit is going to get crazy. And you're going to be like, yo, like, at least for me, I'm like, yo, like, what else? What else? Like, why are you doing this? Why are we doing all this, you know? But you have to remember that eventually you can't stay in the dirt forever. You know, like, you can't stay in this bad season forever. The universe is not going to do that to you. God is not going to do that to you. And there's a purpose for this. So again, one of my good friends, she'll be dropping them gems. She really be dropping them gems. But she was like, you know, just kind of resonating with this quote is like, oh my gosh, why am I going blank? But every storm runs out of rain, right? And like, you can't question, instead of saying, why is this happening to me? Try to ask, like, what is this trying to teach me? And I think when you try to do that, that's when you literally, like, when I'm like going spazzing out and like freaking out and like getting anxious, and I'm like, I don't understand what's going on. Why is this happening? I just want this to happen. And then like she says that to me, and I'm like, oh, you know, it kind of like calms me down. I'm just like, you know, yeah, you're right. Like, what is this trying to teach me? I'm so busy trying to get out of this mess instead of just, you know, having that mindset, yes, you should get out of the mess. I'm not saying stay in it and swim in it and like enjoy it, but I'm just saying like, all right, maybe you keep getting into, especially if you keep into the same mess, then you better start reevaluating what's going on, because that's like the universe is saying, you're not learning your lesson. You need to do this again. You know, just like when you're in school or whatever, like you got to do it again. You didn't do it right the first time or the second time or the third time or whatever. So just taking that time to evaluate, all right, what's really good here? Like, what's going on? What's the problem? What am I going through right now? What could this be teaching me? And that alone can make you just sit and reflect, and you think about what's going on. You think about your past and experiences, and then you can just be like, okay, all right, fine. You can figure it out, and even if you don't know, pray on it, manifest that, like meditate on that, and the universe, I'm telling you, man, the universe is like, that's your best friend. It will literally, universe to God, your best friend, because it will send, if you don't get it, the universe will send you messages through people. Like if people randomly telling you something, coming up to you saying stuff, or, you might read a quote on Instagram or something like that. Just little stuff that you're like, oh, okay, or you might come across, I don't know, this podcast or something like that. That's gonna be like reassuring you, like, all right, like this is where you're supposed to be. This is what's going on, and this is what's up. So yes, thank you so much for listening. This is Black Hippie Lounge, and I'm your host, Chanel. I really hope that you enjoyed this first episode, and I hope that you continue to listen to my podcast. Again, just thank you so much, and don't forget to meditate, manifest, and invest in you. Thank you.